Terence Crawford team says that Errol Spence has fake pay-per-view numbers and nobody from PBC has called and reached out trying to make a fight with Bud and Errol Spence. We're going to talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Bud Crawford's team speaks out by way of Bernie, who's one of his kind of mentors and friends, whatever you want to call him. He did an interview with TBV. I will put the link in the description. And I just want you to hear it, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts regarding the situation. Link will be in the description so you can hear it unadulterated. Roll the clip.
This is like a number.
Asking for a number.
This is a 50-50. This is a 50-50 fight. First, nobody over there has even called Bud to talk about the fight. Nobody has even called him to sit down. Let's all sit down. Let's get us 4 people or these group of people and sit down and talk about the fight. Ain't nobody never called and talked to the man about the fight. All they trying to do is dismiss the fight. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, Bud, all he can do is, they talking about. And then let me say, I think they fluffed them pay-per-view numbers over there. The pay-per-view numbers with Mikey, well, maybe that was before the pandemic, I believe. So I could see that, and I know it was all based off Mikey. I'm sure it was all based off, mostly off Mikey. The fight was not an intriguing fight only from Mikey's standpoint, if you want to say that. It was only intriguing from Mikey's standpoint. A 35-pounder who was in talks with Vasily Lomachenko, but decided to fight Errol Spence. Come on, man. Like I say, all this, man, shit. That's a bunch of bullshit, man. And like you said.
So, I mean, just off of that alone, I feel like Terence Crawford's team, at least like what's being put out publicly, it's really like kind of misguided. Like, for one, it was all over the place. 1 minute, it's like, Errol Spence, his team ain't reached out to make the fight with us. Then there's accusations of Errol Spence's numbers are fake. And then he says it was before the pandemic, I believe. So the numbers are real, but it was only because of Mikey Garcia. So it's like, to me, it just sounds all over the place. And I don't think this is the best look for Terence Crawford's team, because it's like, to me, it's too chaotic. It's too all over the place. Like, you're accusing Errol Spence and PBC basically of like pencil whipping the numbers and saying that these are fluff numbers and these ain't really the numbers. But then Bernie just said that the Mikey Garcia was pre-pandemic, so those are actual numbers, but it's all because of Mikey Garcia. And I'm telling you guys firsthand, I don't know what other people do, but I know what I do. And I know I was at the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight, credentialed media, ringside in Jerry's World. And I know firsthand that that's not true, that everybody wasn't out there just to see Mikey Garcia. It was very mixed crowd, very, very mixed crowd, right? And I don't know if Bernie was there or if Terence Crawford was there. I didn't see either one of them. So I'm not sure if they were there, but I know I was there. And I seen some people had Mexican flags and Mikey Garcia apparel, but I also seen a ton of people that had Errol Spence Man Down Promotions, Strap Season, and all these types of shirts, ESJ shirts and things like that. And that's from firsthand. This ain't like retelling. Somebody told me that. This is me firsthand. I even have some of it on videotape on my memory cards and hard drives. So that's not accurate. He's saying that the people just came out to see Mikey Garcia, and then you're alleging that the numbers are being falsified. So to me, it's a bad look, because for one, Terence Crawford is suing Top Rank. So his numbers have been horrible. There's no fluff to it, because he has a promoter, a Jewish promoter from New York, Bob Arum, who lets you know that these numbers aren't good. There's no filtering, there's no fluffing or anything. So when Terence Crawford's numbers on pay-per-view haven't been the best, Bob Arum doesn't counter that. He doesn't say, hey, but he's telling you. Bob Arum is telling you that Terence Crawford, I can pull up article after article after article where Bob Arum is condemning Terence Crawford, saying the kid just can't sell and I'll lose a ton of money every time out with Terence Crawford. It's not worth it for us any longer. This is not my opinion. This is not my hope for Bud or anything. This is what his former promoter from 2011 to 2021, the very end of 2021, the Sean Porter fight, has told us, so you spent basically a decade with a promotion that keeps throwing you under the bus and lets the world know that Terence Crawford's numbers. And then somehow Errol Spence and PBC continue to be blamed or, questioned. Like, for starters, like me, I can't speak for anybody. And I know that's Terence Crawford's boy and things like that. But I feel like you can't, that's a heavy crown for you to put on somebody and say that they're manipulating or putting out fake numbers with Errol Spence, and you have zero proof of this. So it just sounds ridiculous, especially when Bud is suing his old promoter. Why, if Errol Spence and PBC wronged Bud, then why is he not suing them? If they took some kind of conversation or verbal or written contractual obligation and they defaulted on it, then Bud should be suing them. But the actuality of it is it looks bad because Terence Crawford's team, they keep suggesting that the problem has been Errol Spence and PBC. Then why are you suing Top Rank? If they like, and it's like, I'm real big on accountability, and we got to place blame where blame is owed and where it belongs. And I keep hearing these like commentaries and stuff from Terence Crawford's team and Crawford fans, and sometimes even Crawford himself. And it's like, even Tim Bradley, recently I did a video about, Tim Bradley said that he still thinks, even with this Terence Crawford Top Rank Bob Arum lawsuit, he believes that Errol Spence is avoiding Terence Crawford. You just heard the Terence Crawford's own team, by way of Bernie, he's telling the world, hey man, PBC never called. They never called us. They never like try to set up a meeting. They're just trying to dissuade the fight from happening. But the thing is, it's almost like delirium or delusional. And I'm just being real. It just sounds delirious and delusional what's coming from them. Like, at the end of the day, PBC doesn't owe anything to Terence Crawford. I get it. People want to see the fights and all that, but how many fights have never happened? Like Mikey Garcia, Lomachenko. And speaking of that, he said that Mikey moved up to fight Errol and he was in negotiations with Lomachenko. I do this every day. When were they ever in negotiations? Especially since Mikey, similar to Terence Crawford now suing Bob Arum, Mikey is on record saying the Lomachenko fight he would love, but he doesn't see it happening because Lomachenko's with Bob Arum and Bob Arum hates him and they don't have a great working relationship because Mikey too left on bad terms with Top Rank, which is what it looks like the current situation for Terence Crawford. So what is Terence Crawford's team talking about, saying that Mikey went up to fight Errol Spence and he was in negotiations to fight Lomachenko? I must have missed that bit because I cover boxing every single day for the last decade plus, and I never remember that. I remember fans wanted to see the fight, but ultimately we didn't really get close to that fight happening. The closest it happened, or to it happening, was Mikey pulled up on Lomachenko and the Top Rank people, and there was a green screen. They took some pictures together, but they were never in negotiations deeply to have no type of fight at that given moment. So Mikey, for whatever reason, I'm not saying it's a good look, but he called out Errol Spence. So it just looks bad because I feel like it's a lot of finger pointing from that side. Tim Bradley, he's with Top Rank and he's saying, oh, Errol is his fault. Team Crawford, Bernie, he's saying that, oh, they never called us. They don't have to call you. Terence Crawford is the one that needs, I keep saying this, life is as simple as you make it. Terence Crawford is a brilliant fighter, but that's only half the battle. You got to get your ducks in a row and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I think Terence Crawford's team, they have taken that skills pay the bills concept, and they think that equates to A-sideness or this is a 50-50 fight. But there's other parameters you have to look at, and that's why I think they're feeling like they're left out in the cold. If anything, why doesn't Bud Crawford swallow pride, reach out to Al Heyman and try to set up a meeting with his attorney and Al Heyman or whoever and try to get on board? You know what I mean? But instead, you're saying that PBC didn't reach out to you, and you can never overvalue yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like to hate or say like Terence Crawford's worthless, because as a boxer, he's everything a boxer should be: discipline, power, brains, you know what I'm saying, fun to watch, stuff like that. So he has all those components, but I just think that Terence Crawford's team mistakenly believe he has a lot more leverage than he's ever had. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'll continue talking about these things, the latest and greatest. Subscribe. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.